Howdy there, Earpers. Today we're going to be talking about episode 11, Landslide, and there is quite a bit to cover. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I know, I always get in the groove, you know, the song just gets you so excited. And we're just excited to be back because it's a Wynonna Earp recap time. Woo! And like I said, today we're doing episode 11, Landslide. My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D. Lane. I'm joined by my lovely, amazing co-host.
Hey guys, my name is Amber Plaster. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Amber Plaster.
And so I had a little bit of technical difficulty, so that's why we're just doing one episode today. And we're possibly looking into making next week, which would cover 12 and 13, the finale, and maybe make that a little bit longer. So we'll let you know via Twitter and stuff. So first of all, I love episode 11. Kind of opens up at the beginning. They're all kind of dealing with Willa being back. And they're just like,
Willa.
Huh? Eve Willa.
She's undercover. She's on the down low, which I respect. I respect that they're trying to keep her
Yeah.
identity. It makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I just like that they're like, it's overwhelming. And I'm like, wow, that's the understatement of the year. Like, yeah. And I like that Gus is kind of like, yeah, no, totally accepting of it and everything. She's like, this is great, no problem. And then both the sisters are like, no, like keeping the distance.
First of all, Gus appears out of nowhere.
I know, right? She's hanging out at the house. No. Remember, she was at the house. Well, we don't know why she was at the house in the first place. Because the last episode, she came out on the steps and was like, Willa! And that was a really great GIF. Thank you on Twitter there. That was funny. And
It was.
Yes, it was very funny. And, oh, yes, thank you. And we are live in the chat. So if you're watching this live, feel free to chat with us. And if you're watching it later, leave comments down below. And we are approaching this as first-time viewers, so no spoilers, please.
No spoilers, please. Thank you.
So that's why Gus was there. But that's, you know, Wynonna and Willa's, they
don't get
Waverly's
along.
house.
So I didn't really see why Gus was there suddenly.
It was kind of weird. I hadn't even thought about that. I was like, oh, yeah.
I was like, where did Gus come from? How convenient. Anyway,
she came over to visit.
Sassy. I guess, but then she doesn't like Wynonna. Remember?
Yeah,
like she's
not
like,
really.
get out of here. You're gonna cause trouble for Waverly.
Yep.
I mean, maybe it's because Waverly's recently been shot at. Maybe she was like attending to her or something. But
maybe
it was a little strange for me that Gus showed back up. But I understand that we needed Gus to recognize her. But like,
yes, no, but it was kind of like I'd almost want them to be like, Gus, what are you doing at our house?
Yeah.
But either way, and then of course, Mr. Scientific Dolls is like, oh no, I got the DNA proof right here. We did a test.
I liked that.
I like that a lot.
It.
It was because it's smart. Like, if there's any doubt, what is the main thing people jump to right away? Like, well, let's just do a DNA test. Let's find out if you're really their relation.
And he has the ability to do so.
Yeah. I mean, the only other way maybe is if you look at someone, then you're like, maybe you're my sister. But they haven't seen them forever, you know, so they don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, like we said last episode, I was like, they do not look alike.
Yes.
I do have to say, though, that looking at her at this episode in daylight, she does look a little bit older. Mm-hmm. Like, she could be an adult this time.
I enjoyed your Twitter discussion, and thank you guys. Oh, totally reach out to us on Twitter and continue the discussion afterwards. We love talking about little things in the episode, and that was a very funny discussion. Amber brought up, like, if you didn't read this, she's kind of like, yeah, I wasn't really sure if Willa was the sister because, like, the actress looked a little younger. And then I'm totally blanking on who shared it, but thank you. Someone provided a photo of them, like, as the kids and then, like, the adult actors side by side.
Well, someone tweeted at me and they were like, hey, I just watched the show and I want to know why you thought Willa was so much older. She's only a year too older.
Oh, they reached out to you. Okay.
And I was like, because... I got all sassy. I was like, because listen, in the flashback, Willa's all tall and like a teenager, and Wynonna is like, you know, like 8 or whatever. I don't know why I remembered it that way, because that is simply not true. And she was like, here, I'm gonna help you out. Here's a photo of the kids in there. She's like, I thought they were like a foot apart too, and they're exactly the same height.
Right.
Which means that as kids, if you're the same height, you're pretty much like really close in the same age, like within a year or two. And I was like, oh. Thank you.
And some kids grow differently than others. Like, I hit my height like 6th grade or something, and I maybe grew 1 more inch after that.
Yeah.
But I hit my max there and was like, done.
And then
but I had so many other people be like later and come.
Yeah. And the actress who plays adult Willow matches young Willa, and I just hadn't realized that because there's fire in the flashback. You don't really see her face too much, but like she does match perfectly. So I'm eating my words on that one. I definitely like the character Willa. I didn't think that she looked at all related or old enough to play her at first, but now I do.
The more I see her, I think she looks more like a Waverly. The round face kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
And huge shout out to the actress for Waverly for responding to my tweet, because I did my braids like her, and she's like, looking good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Aww.
And I'm like, well, I had good source material to work off of.
This cast is incredibly active on social media.
They are fantastic. We love you guys.
In an interested way. This cast, I mean, much like the fan base, is incredible in that they're not too cool for school.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they...
Oh, yeah.
They'll geek out with you. It's nice.
Yes. And then, so like you said, too, they weren't telling anybody that Will is back, because probably it's best, because someone's a missing person case and then suddenly comes back. It's a little weird that you don't want to jump in and be like, hey, everybody, surprise! Especially because they're all, like, awkward about it, too. You know, it's like, because imagine if you know you're related to someone, and you kind of don't see them for most of your life, and then they get reintroduced. And then you're kind of like, how do I approach that?
You know what I was thinking? You know? This may or may not be related, but we have extra time this episode,
guys,
so I'm going to bring it up.
Go for it.
So each sister has been introduced with violence in some way or another.
It's true.
Which I really like. And then we see later that they all are really good at drinking, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
Covering the Wyatt Earp ancestry of drinking and fighting. So it's almost as if the family line's been passed down. So I really loved in the pilot how Waverly was introduced with, you're not my man. You know, she has the shotgun, and then she's like, okay, it's your sister. And then we get introduced to Eve by knocking her over the head with a pot and pan. And then when she becomes Willa, if you will, she's taking a gun and shooting it. So, like, I kind of love how each of these sisters get introduced with violence. And it's almost sister-on-sister violence, where Waverly is shooting at her sister.
That's true. And Wynonna, that's the first way they get reintroduced.
Yeah.
Good callback.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Little nod to...
Are there GIFs of that online? I want to see those.
Oh, yeah. There are.
Yeah. Can we have some of those, guys? I want to see, like, the girls, like, fighting stuff. Which, those are really fun. Yeah. They're super fun. And then we get introduced to these interesting female monster things, which I was like, they're a little different than the other Revenants. A little bit.
So I wrote down when I was watching this earlier, I was like, vampires? Sirens?
Right?
What? And it turns out that they're actually Revenants, but they're a specific kind of Revenants where I believe that they're sirens.
Pretty much, because they only work on straight people. Because technically they went for Wynonna and it didn't really work. So,
but is it because she's an Earp, or is it because she's a straight
I'm going to go true straight.
Okay.
Because I had a moment.
Because she had a moment where she was like, I don't know, stop this.
Yeah. So I don't know if Waverly would have done so well.
I want to know, because I want to know
if it worked,
if it works for the Earp, or if it works because, like, she's just simply not attracted to them, so therefore they have nothing to work off of.
Right.
But I also thought it was really interesting that their eyes glowed blue instead of just red.
I thought it was like a pink.
They glowed,
no, maybe the victims had pink.
They glowed blue right when they start to glamour you.
Okay.
And then they turn red when they get get it turned on.
Yeah. Someone in the chat asked, can Siren use their eyes to use their eyes as their powers? I thought Sirens was the voice.
Well,
like
traditionally
songs.
Sirens, it's the song of the siren.
Yeah.
But I always viewed Sirens generally as
they're talking to
a glamour effect.
Yeah.
So it's like, look at me, give me your attention. If you're looking at me, you're listening to my voice, you're paying attention to me. And so I feel like the eyes are part of it. So it works for me.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. I love the variety of them in this one. And I was like, that is quite a tongue. When they lick their face, I was like, oh my goodness.
That's what made me think they weren't vampires. Just the long lizard tongue.
Right.
And I think we've seen something with every Revenant's a little different. We have got shark teeth, we got the pulling out the tongue, we got lizard tongue. Everyone's a little bit different. But I do have to say, though, I do love the casting just in overall, but it was a little bit refreshing to see these sirens. Twins look real.
Curvaceous, yes.
Yeah, but also beyond that, like, their faces were real. Their faces weren't like...
Not plastic?
perfectly pouty lips and perfectly high cheekbones, and it's not that they were ugly, they were very attractive, but they were real looking.
Yes.
And they were a little curvy, and I was just like, this is great, because women
they were sexy.
Can trap men not looking like a supermodel, and I was like, it just was a nice reference to that. I just really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I love their outfits too, and like how they carried themselves, and they just had so much confidence.
So much confidence.
Those actresses were
very
great.
Sexy.
Because that's what's sexy. Is like, hey there, and you're like, whoa there.
Yeah.
Later, we do learn that the judge hired them, which was like, oh, okay. So we'll get to that too. And then we get back to the sisters, and they're all kind of trying to rekindle memories for Willa. And sorry if I mix up some of the names, because what parent, all W's, and you're like, so then, but they get the moment where it's to Willa, they tell Wynonna, you need to tell her the whole truth. Because it's like, Wynonna is filling Willa in on what's the family's like, and you need to go slow, because it's like, you can't expect her to instantly be like, yes, I remember. And they're like checking the room, which was nice. Because it's familiar objects, which that's always a thing that we've seen, kind of a...
Yes.
Because it's objects, places, smells, that can help bring back memories.
It was nice to see her, have that amnesia storyline come to an end. Thank goodness. That's, it's coming to an end this episode, because I can't handle a whole lot of amnesia in storylines. But it makes sense for her to kind of slowly be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I smell that. I remember that. And so they did a good way of showing her collect her memory back in this episode. They also, something unusual happened. Waverly is actually afraid to touch Willa in this episode.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was interesting. She reaches out and then she's like, eat, no. And I'm like, whoa.
What was that about?
Whoa. Yeah, no touchy. Oh, I think I wrote that down. I did. She's like, no touchy. I'm like, okay then. But, they... Again, it's like, you're related to that person, but you have no real connection to this person. You have a connection to who they were. So it's like you have to start all over, pretty much.
Yeah.
So then we jump over to this Mr. Stokes guy who did not last very long. Because at first I'm like, oh, Mr. Stokes, who's this new character? And it's
didn't he look like he was going to be a big recurring character?
I thought it was going to be some interesting, like, oh, this is going to be a new character. Nope. So there's this big poker game gonna happen. They have a lot of cash, and then the twins. He goes to his hotel room, and the twins are there, in the bathroom with already a lot of blood. So then I'm like, who'd they kill already?
Yeah,
I don't think we know.
Well, it's just what they're doing,
just
right? They're going out and they're getting whoever they are sent to go out and get. And I think that's another way of satiating these particular sisters, like they said, like we're doing this because we get lonely, and when we get lonely, we get hungry, and like they said something like that. Also, LOL, poker spectacular.
Yeah, I was like, what? That's an interesting.
And I loved as soon as they said it, I was like, really? And then one of the characters was like, really?
It's a silly name.
It was great.
But with the twins, I liked. How'd you like the bloody BJ? That was interesting. I liked it because it was like really gruesome, and it's a very fearful way to go, but I didn't like it because it seemed like a vampire. And I was like, well, if she's not a vampire, then don't have her behave like a vampire. She's a ghoul. She's not sucking the blood. She's just biting and eating the flesh.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a little too close to a vampire.
Fair enough. No, it's it's like.
But what a way to go. Ugh.
Yeah. I think that'd be blood loss then. There was a lot of blood.
Exsanguinated.
Yeah.
Again, very close to a vampire.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. We had the Wynonna and Willa when they're trying to bond, and they're doing the shooting range, which is
I gotta say, I got a little excited that maybe we got to see Doc shooting.
I know, I was like, is Doc back? Is he here? Is he gonna be shooting? No.
And then I remembered that he was gone, and I was sad.
Yeah. And then she's like explaining the curse, and of course, then that's when a good moment for Willa to get her flashback, because she's holding the gun, because then that's an object familiarity, and gets the flashback and is like, I remember all my childhood, which I'm like, that was a little fast, but that's a thing that was it was the trigger.
Yeah.
But she of course doesn't remember what happened after she was taken, so that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, she's not going to get it all back at once, but but when that happened, I was like, okay, we can move on from the amnesia. So
yes.
I was happy to see that.
Amnesia is a tricky thing to do in shows. Yeah. And movies, because you're just like, I conveniently don't remember anything.
I'm glad they're getting that out of the way this episode. Yeah. Like, just let's, you know.
And then she's not like, oh no, poor me, I was in a cult. And you're just like,
I have to say that about Eve Willow's character, if you will, that she's a little rough around the edges, not only with strangers especially.
Oh yeah.
She's not nice to Officer Hot. She's not nice to dolls.
Yep.
She's not nice to strangers.
She's a biatch.
Well, you know, it's kind of like she said, she's like, oh, I have to sugarcoat things for normal people. Oh, I have to be a normal person. And you're like, yeah. And so you do get to see shades of her coming out of a cult.
Yeah.
But it's not what you would expect. It's not this timid character. She's kind of like, she's a survivor. Yeah. She's very blunt. And I kind of like it because it makes sense for her to not be nice. She's been through a lot of crap.
Oh, yeah, no. But, like, this behavior I don't think is what she would have done in the cult. So then it's interesting that then that really is more her nature. But the Earp family is rather a saucy group. And so, you know, she's just kind of... So then that is a nature versus nurture. Like, no, they're all pretty independent. Like, she does not like being told what to do at all. But Wynonna doesn't either.
Well, she couldn't afford to be sassy in the cult because she would have been sent out.
No, but then that really is like, that's almost genetic. Like, all three sisters are like that. They all have some degree of, don't tell me what to do. And, yeah, they don't like being bossed around.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Or like, if I know the better way, I'm going to make you do it. I'm going to redress this wound even though you did it, and I don't care about your feelings because this is right.
That's the next episode.
Just kidding.
But yes. She had better luck with technology than I did, so. If there's a little bit of a bleed over, I
might be one episode ahead, and I'm so trying not to. But that was a big deal.
No. I saw that scene.
Okay, cool.
And I was like, biatch.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Then we have Doc and his car trouble. Now, the thing is, and if you found out in the next episode, you can let me know, was that line that he couldn't drive that car over that line? Or is that not really answered?
I don't know. That scene, I feel like I want to go back and rewatch again and again because I was like, what is it that we're missing out of this? Is he trapped in Purgatory and that's the line where he's trapped at?
But it could be the car. Because I think he's walked over the line. Because there's another line that he walked over episodes ago and he wasn't affected. But there was like the marker by the side of the road and that's exactly where the vehicle stopped, and the vehicle belonged to the witch, so maybe the vehicle can't go.
I have a lot of questions about the guy who rolls up and tries to save him.
Okay, so you don't know answers from the next episode? Okay,
I don't.
Good. Cool, so we're on the same level.
It's not answered. Yeah. And it was very interesting.
Oh, he was super interesting.
He gets more interesting and nothing gets answered.
Okay.
And you're like, what is going on? So he could walk past, and it's like when he walked past, he's like, you're seeing if I can walk past, aren't you? And it's like,
well, because he was almost like checking to see if he was a revenant.
I think that's what he was checking to see.
That's what I thought he was testing. Yeah.
But then why? It's obvious that Doc waited for him to show up, him specifically.
Oh, you think he was waiting for him?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think that at all.
Because he says, I make my own luck. And I was like, he was waiting for him because he knew that he had the know-how to fix this car.
But how do you know that guy was going to be coming through?
I don't know.
See, I think he wasn't waiting for him.
Well, maybe he was just waiting for someone.
Waiting for someone. I think Doc was waiting for someone, because then he was clearly not asleep when the person, whoever it is, walks up. But he wasn't sure who that kind of person was, so that he did the test of like, here, go cross that line, which that gentleman clearly kind of knew what it was. Yeah. He participated anyways.
That's what freaks me out, is that he knew he kind of knew.
Okay, guys, spoilers, no spoilers. If you have theories on that and it's not answered in the finale, let us know. Do you think Doc was waiting for that Good Samaritan in particular? Or if he was just waiting for someone? Because I think he was just waiting for someone, but I like your theory that he was waiting for that guy in particular.
I think he was waiting for that guy in particular, and I don't know why, and I don't have a better theory on that. I just got a feeling the way that he looked at him and he goes, oh, you need a fan belt. I just so happen to have a fan belt in my car. And
right.
He goes,
he's like, you're the luckiest person.
Yeah. He's like, I make my own luck. And I was like, he was waiting for him. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But Doc is a sneaky cat.
Okay, yes. Chat room says Doc can walk over the line and the car just broke down. But it's very convenient that that car broke down right at that line.
Well, that's what Doc said. He was like,
Yeah.
of course it would happen here of all places.
Yes.
And I was like, but what does it mean?
And then
What does it
later,
mean?
when the car has troubles, it breaks down again at the same spot.
Does
Which
it?
Yes.
Oh,
Which we'll
jeez.
come back to that too. I love the line too of drifting is another word for running. That guy called Doc out so hard there. It's like, oh, yeah. And then he said, but then he obviously knows who Doc is because he says the like waiting in the dark. And then Doc gets all prickly like, what did you say? What are you talking about?
And then he said, or it can be a woman.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
No, it's not a girl I'm running from. No, I don't love her. Did I say that out loud?
No.
Yep.
Totally not.
So yeah, he totally knows who Doc is, and he called him. I wrote down. I thought he said Juan Carlo,
Yeah.
which I was like, that's an interesting name for you, sir. But
That's an interesting name for a very Caucasian male to
Yes.
have. But
I was about to
okay,
say that,
Maybe
yeah.
there's no Hispanic people in Canada?
yeah,
Okay. It was very strange.
Juan.
All right. Would like
He's
explanation.
Spaniard. He could be Spaniard with that name, and be lighter, maybe.
Okay.
It's a weird name.
It's a weird
But
name.
he says
He's a very interesting character. I would like to
yeah.
know more.
Well, he said, like, are you this, are you this? And he's like, you're asking the wrong questions. And then he goes, what am I doing here? There you go, right question. And it's like, what are you? I just am. And then you're like, oh, you are so interesting and weird. But we know that there is the winter solstice coming up in 4 days. And Doc needs to help Wynonna, otherwise it's all going to go to shit.
Which I like. You know, let's get Doc back in the picture.
Yes, and it's a timeline, which is cool too, because I feel sometimes, though I love Monster of the Week episodes, now that the 7 are gone, there is no urgency anymore.
Oh, Bobo's still a bad guy.
No, I know, but it's not like they're not in a timeline to kill him.
Yeah,
They're not rushing. They're not like, oh gosh, we have to kill him now.
We do see the sisters, you know, albeit with Eve Willa. I'll keep calling her
Sure.
in this episode. More relaxed.
You can say that as one word almost. Eve Willa.
Eve Willa. Eve Willa. Well,
That's
she's
her-
still kind of referred to as Eve in this episode, so I want to keep
Sure.
saying that. But I thought it was really interesting that Willa is a good shot.
Oh yes, she is. Well, she was trained by her father.
Yeah, I like that. But you know,
That's
what's
a muscle
interesting?
memory, though.
It is muscle memory, but also...
Well, if you know what it is to line up, it's like throwing a baseball. If you teach a kid like young enough to throw it, and you wait a while and come back, ready a bicycle.
I thought it was an interesting choice that Wynonna kind of had to work up to it, and therefore she had to use her other skills, like learn how to fight, learn how to negotiate,
yes.
learn how to be a reasonable human being, whereas Willa
Yeah.
is a little bit more of a hothead. Like many
Oh yes.
like many firstborn children, she's
Yeah.
twice as intense as as her younger siblings.
Are you the first, second, third?
I'm the first girl.
I'm the first.
Yeah.
Wait, was there a boy first, or are you just first?
I'm first.
Me too.
I'm the only girl and I'm the firstborn.
Me too.
Queen of the castle.
All right, woohoo!
But yeah, we tend to be a little bit more than
Sure.
you know the
Yeah.
other siblings, and so I thought it was interesting that we're gonna need Wynonna for her, even though she's capable, because she's so intense and I don't want to say bloodlust, but Wynonna has a little bit more reason
Unfocused?
about her, unfocused, and she's mentally unstable right
Oh
now.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Extremely.
Oh yeah. Then then Waverly is super neutral then comparatively, and then she and Willa have a moment. Oh yeah, that was it. Willa is Waverly's
yeah.
even more guarded, and that's the no touchy
Yeah.
line. But you know, with Willa being back, Wynonna's getting some self doubts, like Tate Dolls, you know,
Yeah.
maybe it'd be better. And Dolls is like, stop it. He's like, knock it
sad.
off.
Yeah, it's sad to see Wynonna doubt herself like that, but it's understandable. And
No, totally.
It's interesting to see Wynonna become this in between Waverly, who is so flexible. She's like water to go with the flow, Miss Stable, and then Willa, who's just like completely mentally unstable.
Oh yeah.
And a little bloodthirsty and a little hot-headed, even more than Wynonna. So therefore, Wynonna's like, where do I fit within this?
Yes.
Dolls, are you where I go? Where? What?
Are you my mommy?
Are you my mommy?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know
like,
this. I don't know this
nope.
person.
And then they come into that room and they find is it someone else then, or is it it's the guy who was in the hotel room.
It's the guy who was in the hotel room.
Okay, but he's hung up.
It just looked like a
Now-
lot of bags.
Yeah. Okay, so I like Wynonna's line was really funny. Should have kept your pants on.
Yeah.
Now I almost need to rewatch it because I couldn't hear it well enough. I thought Wynonna said, "I walked into this set me up porn," and I'm like, what? like, there was a weird comment Wynonna had with, like, walking up to the situation. I don't know. What did she say, ladies and gentlemen out there?
I didn't catch that line in particular, but I did like her line to Dolls about saying, I don't fit in now. I'm just an off-key drunk of an understudy. And I was like, aww. It was really good, though.
Yeah, good line.
But yeah.
And then, of course, okay, because this is where the moment is that the siren, we'll call them the sirens in a way.
Yeah,
someone made a good point, too, in the chat. They're like, the eyes were purple, and I'm like, you were saying blue, and I'm like, pink, so I'm like, I think they were, maybe it's how,
just
what
not the
color you register. Yeah,
red.
No, it's not the red, like Bobo's. So Dolls, of course, falls under their spell right away, but they have the moment with Wynonna, and she's like, no, and I think that was because she was straight, because she has a moment where she's like, no, not my type.
No, she had a moment where she was like, huh? And then she shakes it off and she's like, no.
So I wonder if Waverly wouldn't have done so well, like I said earlier.
Yeah, that's what makes me think it's more not being attracted to them than it is.
I don't think it's
being magical or whatever, because if it was magical, then Dolls wouldn't have been affected. Because he's not human.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's attraction for sure. But what did you think of them going, you're different? They could tell he was different. They had both had lines. Both of the girls had lines saying how he tasted different, he was strong, and they were commenting on him like he's not a normal human. And I really wanted Wynonna to hear that, but it didn't seem like she noticed.
No, I think that Wynonna has been thinking something's up with him for a long time. Like she said, I thought you were sick. So there are alarm bells going off with her about Dolls, but now she's like, oh, well, it must have been something else.
Yes.
But I thought it was interesting that no other Revenant has been able to sniff out Dolls.
Right? I mean, Doc sniffed him out right away. Yeah. Doc's kind of like, you're different.
So maybe it's just that female Revenants are more intuitive?
Maybe.
Do we know any other female Revenants that he's come in contact with that have...
There's been very few.
There's been very few. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What about this bomb when Willow's like, Dad knew that the Revenants were coming when she's at the Shorty's bar and they're drinking. And of course, that's where Wynonna finds her. She's drinking. And then she's like, Dad, something. And then Willow's totally like pissed, like, F him. He knew the Revenants were coming and they essentially, Dad let him in to slaughter us. Do you know more in the next episode? You do? Okay. But what did you think in that moment? And like, Wynonna's like, what? I don't know how to process that.
I took it, at the moment, before I knew more, I took it as Willow's just angry and she's getting to experience her anger for the first time.
Yes. I think she just didn't understand.
Yeah.
For sure. And then, WTF, and do you know the next one, too, of the army thing? The Special Forces people? Does that get clarified next?
Yes.
Okay. That was like, what? So we get the Army Special Forces assassination attempt at the Earp home, and it's for Dolls.
Great was the fact that they were legitimately in the barn when that happened. I bought that. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, of course they're conveniently in the barn. I was like, no, there was like a whole storyline of like the beam. Great. And then they came out, and like you get to see this almost like slow-mo of like Willa and Wynonna looking badass. Yes. And I was just like, I could watch. This was another scene, like Doc Holliday shooting with his pinky. I was like, I can rewatch them coming out of that barn 100 times and not get sick of it.
The line was earlier when they were with the wait, is that it's the next episode where they have the interrogator guy? Yes, I think so. But there's a line that Dolls says, which that is appropriate when they leave the barn, and he says, let's go, bitches. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, hey, they said the line on the show, so we can say it on this show.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a nice call to arms thing.
I loved it. I love the fact that we see Waverly defending her home with a shotgun again.
Yes.
I love that Dolls is there. Like, they really do have the team that they need in place to take out these people, and Willa is ready to fight because she has not been able to fight for a long time, and she's got a lot of pent-up energy, and it's, what better way to use it than on these people? I was a little sad that Officer Hot was not there.
Right? In this episode, we're kind of like, where is she?
Yeah.
There are a few references, though, where Wynonna's like, are you guys, like, BFFs now? And Waverly's like, I'm not going to even talk to you about it. And then there's another part where she says something, and I forget what the second one is, but it's like, Wynonna, are you that clueless? Oh, no. It's would girls notice or something like that?
Oh, the scars.
Yeah, guys dig scars. Do girls?
Yeah.
And Wynona's like, huh?
Yeah.
Man, Wynonna, you're a little clueless when it comes to your sister's dating.
I predict that Wynonna is gonna be hilariously the last one to know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think like Dolls is gonna find out before.
Oh,
Wynonna
I think
finds
Dolls already knows.
Does he?
Well, he knew when they were looking at each other.
Oh, that's true. That's
yeah,
true.
He's more tuned in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are the thanks chat room.
I think
they are the best
Bobo
of friends.
will know before Wynonna. I think it's gonna be like this ongoing joke where Wynonna never figures it out.
Oh yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. And then oh yeah, Waverly gets shot, but it's just a graze. So, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked her like, no, I'm gonna fight too. Here's my little sawed-off shotgun.
I liked that. I also liked that one of the White Hat SEAL Team 6 or whatever trying to kill everyone runs away, and Eve Willa, we'll say, is like, I'm gonna run after them, and it kind of looks cold and heartless, and
oh, but like, she's leaving Waverly.
Like, she doesn't know Waverly.
Yeah.
Waverly has help with Dolls.
Yeah, there's somebody there,
and also she doesn't know her, and also this guy cannot get away because if he gets away, he's gonna come back and kill everyone. So she actually, it made most sense for Willa to go after these people. So I was like, why are you guys even doubting this for a second? So I enjoyed that. That made sense for me, and you know. It ended up working out. And then Bobo saves her.
Oh, yes. No, that was, I'm like, Bobo helps? That was interesting. Then I was like, and then if you know, I'm like, hold back. I kind of felt like Bobo really likes Willa. Likes her. And, or paternally, like a father likes her. I was like, I can't, it's a love in a way.
There's a connection there.
For sure. Do you find out the next one? All right. From my perspective, I was like, it was either, I didn't necessarily think it was romantic right away, but it was as soon as he saw who she was on the phone, when he gets that. Oh, that was the other thing too I was going to ask guys. So, I don't speak Chinese. I'm pretty sure that person's speaking Chinese at Shorty's bar. And what is he saying to Bobo? Because clearly Bobo understands him. So anybody out there who speaks Chinese, what do they say? Leave comments down below, please. Because I was like, I thank you, Bobo, for, because he does the, like, I'm going to answer the question by speaking, but I'm still like, what did he say?
Yeah.
But as soon as he saw Willa's image on that phone, he's like, and like booked it over there, saved her. And then I don't blame her for not wanting Wynonna to shoot him. Be like, no, he just saved me. Which I like that she says that. Soonish enough.
I was a little confused by that because up until that point, Willa has been so bloodthirsty.
I know, but I think she knows about her relationship with Bobo and, like, remembers it, so...
She doesn't remember. She just knows that there's something there.
Yeah, okay.
And so she's like, I don't think we kill this guy.
Well, she says, I can't kill him because he has information about me. If he dies, we lose it.
And that's fair.
That's a good answer.
That's a totally viable answer. But I was very fascinated by that and continue to be fascinated by that. And there is more to that relationship that I won't comment on, but that scene was very interesting, and I also at that scene realized that since Willa has come into Wynonna's life, Wynonna has not shot successfully Peacemaker.
That's true. Willa keeps grabbing it and shoots it for her.
So is she gonna even be able to shoot it anymore?
I think so. I think it'll still be active. I don't think it's going to be like, I'm not going to turn on, like, not work.
I don't know. Got a bad feeling about this, guys.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have a feeling, though.
And then the end of the episode kind of ends with just Doc being knocked out because his car stops conveniently in the exact same spot it broke. So I think there's more to that person who fixed his car because he ends up at the exact same spot again, and that was kind of weird. And he gets out to check it and then gets hit over the head.
And then you see him say you can either take the fan belt or the badge.
Oh, yeah, that was earlier, yes.
And you're like, why do you know this? And why would he ever choose the badge? And what is... I'm very curious about that scene. And I feel like I'd like to go back and... So many of these episodes I'd like to go back and rewatch and...
Yeah, there's more to it.
But man, the badge, her necklace, and Doc's hat...
the hat.
all do something.
Because he's like, I like your hat.
I have a theory that all of those items have magical properties in a way that we can't understand, or in a way that empowers the user. And so that badge showing back up, Doc couldn't let that go.
Yeah, no, he got all flustered about it.
Yeah. It has deeper meaning.
I threw it in the fire. Yes.
Yeah.
That kind of wraps up the episode, but calling back some things on the chat. Thanks, guys, for chiming in. Someone replied back to, sorry, too many W's. Waverly and Officer Hot gal pals. I like that one. Thank you. That's a good, funny one. And then Chicks Dig Scars and that dolls obviously knew right away. And I'm like, yeah. And then I think the dolls can be oblivious, but he picked up on that one pretty quickly.
Dolls is an interesting mix of completely oblivious and like laser focused.
But you know what? There are people like that. I've had some people that'll be like super like know something, or you know, be aware, and then other stuff you're just like, or watching a television show, like people, like even this show, people will pick up on something and then you'll talk to them about something else and they'll be like, you didn't notice that thing that was like huge? And people are like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of is more what people pick up on.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this episode?
I don't think so. I guess my only thought that I wrote down was that poor Earp house gets destroyed like every other week.
Seriously, that the builders in town must get paid bank to come fix it up all the time, or do you think they just fix it up themselves? Like,
I guess
they have like a beam. They're like fix it up.
That house gets beat up more than I've ever seen.
There's gonna be bolt holes all throughout it. It's
throughout
cottage cheese now. Or no, Swiss cheese. There we go. The other one.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh. No, it was a good episode. I'm super interested to see more of Hot Chocolate Juan Carlo. Want to know more about his deal.
Oh, I was like,
he comes in, he's like,
no, I know, in the van.
And I
was
was like,
had
what
moment
are you doing?
Where I was thinking, okay, this is where my brain tangent goes. She said hot, and I'm thinking Officer Hot, and they said chocolate, and then I'm like, dolls? And then
Juan Carlo.
Carlo. And I'm like, whoa, that is a threesome I was not thinking about.
Could be a spinoff if you want it to, girl.
Fan fiction. Oh, there you guys go.
We're going, oh my goodness.
Woo, deep end.
This show just took a dive off. Oh my goodness. No, I don't think there was anything else for this show. I think that I gotta know more about Juan Carlo.
I do know they had a table read today, guys.
Getting
and maybe you might know why later.
2.
Yeah, getting ready for season 2. So exciting. And then you guys all saw probably on Twitter, a lot of them were all arriving up in Canada. I looked it up on a map too where they're filming. So I was like, oh, where is that in relative to Canada?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, no, I don't normally say Canada that way. It's just a funny way to say it. But it's just like, where is that? And because one of those, someone tells you a place you don't know, you're like, I don't know.
It's Calgary, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I saw somebody tweeting about that. But yeah, somebody, Nancy in the chat said, anybody wonder how she sleeps in the barn with holes in the walls and doesn't freeze to death? Yes.
Well, I thought that was where Doc had been sleeping.
That's where Doc had been sleeping, and it's like there's
I
like
didn't think
major
she
holes
slept
in
out there.
No, she doesn't. But I was like, oh, Doc can.
I think he can, because he probably doesn't.
First of all, he's kind of immortal.
He's a dude, so he's warmer, probably.
He's a dude, so he's warmer, and I think he's been used to sleeping out in the woods and stuff.
Yeah, he was sleeping in the woods, guys, so he's probably
basically
used to it,
camping
but good
out
question.
He's camping.
And then, yes, in the chat, we are ready as well. And yes, season 2. And I think that kind of covers it. So yeah, next week we'll be doing episode 12 and 13. It'll be the finale. And
I hope everyone brings their donuts and their whiskey.
Yes,
because
donuts and whiskey.
Celebrating.
Yes. We could do it on the table.
We could.
During the show.
Do anything we want, girl.
Yeah.
Listen.
We'll do cheers. We'll have our little shot glasses. Do cheers with you guys during the show.
Yeah.
Well, they've really done it. Well, they had shots, but also Wynona's done a lot of beer. Like, they had beer stuff.
She does do beer.
Yeah, and they had bottles. Shots is not as common unless they were, like, hanging out at the bar.
I did
think
it was a little weird that Willa is drinking already after having not really drank in her whole life, but
well, as Wynonna put it, she's an Earp, so it's in her.
It's like,
like she's Irish and stuff like that.
Fast,
yeah,
but I buy it.
Chat room, thank you. They said he's been alive since before heating and AC, so he's just used to dealing with the elements. I agree with that too. Like he was sleeping outside in the snow, so he's like, it's cool. I don't care.
He's just super manly, you guys.
You know.
He just handles it. He just handles weather.
All right, and then another person in the chat, you'll drink with us. Fantastic. We'll see what we can do for next week.
Yeah, we'll do something.
I think that kind of covers it for episode 11. Thank you so much for tuning in to AfterBuzz's coverage of Wynonna Earp. Why don't you let people know where to find you and what shows and things you're doing that they can watch you on besides this awesome show?
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Amber Plaster. You guys can follow me on Twitter and tweet me your thoughts at Instagram and Twitter at Amber Plaster. The other show that I am on right now is called The Rookie, where we learn video games on Periscope and YouTube Gaming. I'm also on another AfterBuzz panel called This Is Us, but it's on hiatus right now, so that will be back in January. And that's it for me. Where can they find you?
Oh, thank you. Yes, you guys can find me online at Kari D. Lane. That's Karidlane. And I have Westworld finished up, so you can watch our coverage of that. We had Peter Abernathy, that character, on as a guest, which was pretty awesome. We still have Van Helsing, and that's Sundays. We still have a couple more episodes before. I know this weekend's the finale of that one. Monday nights is Timeless, and I think this coming up week is the mid-season finale. Then they'll be coming up. It's mid-season finales are kind of confusing because I'm like, so that's not season 1, but anyway. Box office breakdown Wednesdays, Vikings and Incorporated. Thursdays we have this awesome show, Wynonna Earp, and Salem later on tonight. Again, thank you so much for watching. Give us thumbs up, comments down below, 5 stars on iTunes. Let us know what you think of the episode and coverage, and we will definitely be around for season 2, so don't fret. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be up to date on all these awesome shows, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.